This podcast is part of the No Phony Podcast Network, the home of independent awesomeness.
Welcome back to another episode of On the Road with Jim and Casey. With me, as always, James Morganti.
That's right.
And joining us tonight, very special guests, Jim's brother, Rob, and sister-in-law, Robin. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Doing good.
All right, guys, we have a special episode for everyone today. As you can see, I've asked my wonderful, smart, intelligent brother, more successful, more many things than me, and his lovely wife, Robin, or as most people know that I call them, Wob and Wobbin. It wasn't my fault. I had a speech impediment, and sometimes it comes out when I get nervous. Today's show is a special episode, The Secrets to Successful Marriage. I feel people need to hear this. So I brought, who better to bring than a couple that's still, look how loving they are. Look, they're just sitting together, you know. That's the American dream right now. What you guys are doing, just quarantined together with the same person every single moment of every day. Robin, why don't you tell us your thoughts on how to start with quarantine? I mean, how can we make this, how can people live with each other funlier in quarantine?
I think it's a test to your relationship and your marriage, and I think you realize what you have in common and can I stand this person? And I think, for Rob and I mean, it's not like an issue. This is 17 years of this, and we know that we don't mind being quarantined. Like, we like it. We love each other's company, and we laugh, and we just, it's a nice coexistence.
Now, some people say I was the reason for you two meeting but then one person might disagree. Sam Cavalieri, shout out to the dorks the wrestling dorks.
The wrestling dorks.
Yeah, he might disagree, just like on another thing of who's the better speller, but we'll cover that topic later. Casey, make that note. Okay, so you guys met because I got referred to Robin through a friend, and then I told Robbie to come meet her, and then it's over. It's over. Boom. You knew who it was. You're like, that's the man. He needed his eyebrows done. So did I. We had to get him waxed. Everybody knows this. How did you know that Rob was the one? How did you make a good call without regretting?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Because you know how
Jimmy?
people are like, oh, he's the one. You know how people are like, he's the one. And then like a year goes by, you son of a, he can't even make more than $500 a week. What a piece of or like, not that I'm saying that was me or anything, but how did you know and never backtrack? And what were the signs that you knew that he was a good man?
He was a very warm person. Always listened, had a great sense of humor.
Compassion.
Here we
Compassion goes a long way.
Compassion, yes. He's very compassionate.
Take notes on that.
No, I knew, I definitely, of course, I was attracted to him at first meeting, but getting to know him, there was definitely like a connection. Like, I could tell that Rob and I definitely shared like the same values, like at the end of the day, despite our differing personalities.
And then some say that your different personalities are good, but your morals and values are the same.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, when you guys are together, obviously I'm around you guys a lot. Robin, what is it about, you've been together for a long time. What is it about Rob that you're just like, oh, my wonderful husband? I'm assuming this is what you say. What makes you fall in love more and more and more with somebody?
Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I don't know that there's something that like you ask yourself every day. It's just like it's little things compounding, it's just like little things that he does, little things that he says, just gestures that he does, gets me a drink when he gets himself one, just like little things like that. It's just kind of a testament to like his good nature, and that's like the things that I love.
Why do you think there's so many relationships right now failing miserably, terribly, marriages going downhill, dating someone, just picking someone horrible, and you think they're so amazing, and then you are like, oh, this person's so terrible. What do you think, like, people are blinded by,
I think people hide a lot of their, real emotions and their thoughts. And I think that's what kind of creates, I don't want to say toxicity, but like a little bit of, maybe they don't open up completely to another person. And, maybe they're in a relationship for a period of time, but then it's like, because they're not opening up, that relationship gets worse.
I kind of have like something to interject, because you said about, why do relationships today fail? And honestly, like I feel like I sound like somebody from another generation, and maybe I am, but it's definitely like a social media thing. Like the idea of social media, the idea of dating apps, the idea that like the next best thing is a swipe away. It's like, I don't have to work on this relationship with this person. I have unlimited amount of people in the palm of my hand. I can swipe on to the next person. And I think we give up easily because there's so much out there. And then, you go on Facebook and people, people post their highlight reel. They post their best moments, and people are like, oh, I want a relationship like, Bob and Susie. It's like, yeah, but you don't know what Bob and Susie's life is like after they're off social media. And it's just like, I think that other people get that perception, like they see that like, oh, I want that. And it's like, it's Facebook's kind of like fake, for the most part. And I think that's what people like, kind of like, oh, I want that. And it's like, the reality is there really isn't somebody perfect, ideal. And like I said, people post their highlight reel and not their reality, of what's going on.
Then, Robin, how are you so successfully married and on Facebook?
I don't think it's about I don't think like being on social media per se is what kills the relationship. I think like if your foundation isn't strong enough to begin with, I think that's when like, those kind of things can kind of come into play. Like maybe you see an acquaintance that you're friends with on Facebook and you think like, oh God, like they have this picture perfect relationship, marriage, like I don't have it. I don't feel that way. It's like I know what Rob and I have behind closed doors, and at home. And I don't envy what another person has. I mean, I feel like even what little Rob have, even financially or whatnot, it's like, that's enough.
So it's almost like you're saying, like a bro, kind of like yeah, you got to do a push-up. You got to be able to do 20 push-ups before you can bench press like 115 pounds or something like that. If you're not ready to be surrounded by pounds and pounds of hot chicks or dudes or whatever, while you're with someone, then maybe you shouldn't be with somebody and just be alone. And then, just, I mean, I'm not talking about me, just start meeting people online and, from all areas of the world. And
well, Jim, let me ask you something, Jim. She mentioned about I think she was more talking about the social media, like the dating apps with the swiping, where you actually have a technique that we've discussed.
Yes, I was on. Yes, I think Robin, I told her my technique was when I would drive. A lot of the viewers don't know this. I'm a great knee driver, by the way.
No, he's not. I drove with him today. It's fucking terrible. I was scared for my life.
Case, I mean, do you know that you exude energy that makes it hard for people to like just be their natural self when you're around? Casey's a very threatening individual, very big and bold, and but by the way, thank you for hooking up my Bluetooth. But besides that, genius tech guy, by the way, Case. Thank you. What was the swiping? Yeah, I mean, I was crazy rights.
Crazy right.
You can get. Yeah, crazy rights. Take who you can get, but that's a single man's game. Okay, that's a young man's game too. It's not someone at my heightened age right now. But yeah, I don't know, Robin. I feel like people need to see people that are with someone their whole life. Like they're with one person. You guys doing the right thing. Robbie wasn't there. He wasn't coming up to you saying, "Hey, Robin, which one of these girls that work here is single?" He wasn't doing that. What are your thoughts on guys coming into the salon asking if all your clients are single? What are your thoughts on those guys?
Oh, the thoughts on those guys being you? Is that what you're?
No, just some guys that come in, I don't.
Jimmy, you are like the only person that does.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
So the salon is a good place to meet somebody, you're saying?
I guess it could be. I mean, I don't know.
Explain what he does.
Explain what he does. Comes in. Well, I used to work for Regis, which was a chain hair salon in shopping malls or whatever. But yeah, it was a salon filled with 15 stylists, and Jim would just walk in, not in the reception area, just right in the shop, start talking to everybody, all the stylists, whatever, and telling me about his escapades at Penn State with Sam and the chicks that he hooked up with. And this was prior to even knowing Rob. So when Jim was like, "Oh, I'm going to send my brother to you," I'm like, "Oh, God, I can't handle another one of this."
In my defense, those weren't hookups. They were me, making out sometimes. Yeah, a couple butt grabs once in a while. Maybe some things were touched, with body parts. Because I don't think I had sex yet. But I liked talking to people. Casey, what did you do when you were 21 years old or 19 or 20 or whatever? Yeah.
Cocaine.
And then obviously cocaine. Well, no, I guess cocaine affects your parts down there in a bad way. What's it called? There's a name for it. I forget. Somebody knows it. Live. You can message us.
What, like erectile dysfunction or?
Oh yeah, Casey might know better than I do. Doesn't that happen? I think.
I never had a problem.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, but that was, you know, what's a kid to do? You know, he's single, he's young. I mean, you know, hey, look around, stylists, they have jobs. What was I doing back then? I mean, I was working for produce, but.
You were working at Reading Phillies in the mascot band.
Oh, that's right. Oh no, there's so many things that. Well, aside from my failed relations with so many people, when you guys got what's it called when you go to Vegas? Is that hitched, right?
Well, I think, like, do you mean eloping? I mean, that wasn't the case, but I think I know what you're getting at, yeah.
Right. You guys didn't need big, fancy weddings, right? You're just like, here's the one I want to be with. Let's ride. And you just made it happen.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, you know, we were together for 7 years before we got married. And I think it was just, you know, we kind of did, you know, we got engaged after 2 years, you know, and then we bought a house. And then it was kind of like, you know what, let's just, you know, make this official. Yeah, it was never something on my bucket list to have a big elaborate wedding or anything like that. And I think it's like, you know, it's the one, and like, I don't care about what the rest of the world thinks. It's like, you know, it's just him and I, and that was the way that we wanted it.
For better or worse. Rich or poor, how much do you think a man needs to make to get married nowadays without taxes, before taxes?
Like, to afford a wedding, or to please a woman?
To be a man that stands up on his own 2 feet, right, and says, "Hey, I'm ready to get married." What, like 75 grand a year after taxes or before?
I don't know, Jimmy.
That's always your go-to question. Why does that matter?
I mean,
it matters to him, and the women that he's dated in the past, it was definitely like a factor. And it's like, I think you can rule someone out of the equation when their bankroll is a deciding factor if they want to be with you or not.
What 3 things do you think are the most, like, I was reading this thing on divorce. Divorce is always 3 things for divorce. Money problems, faithfulness problems, or was it religion? I think it was religion. Belief. The differences of beliefs and stuff like that. So if those things, if you have like 30% of each, or 33.3, whatever, of each, do you think that would be like a good blend of each, like of like a little of
33% of faithfulness.
Oh, good point. Okay. All right.
Can I ask Rob a question?
Sure.
Has he been like this his whole life?
Yes.
Because I don't really remember you from school all that much, Jim. So
he's pretty much been like this. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say his whole life, yeah. He used to be more, when he was a little younger, he was more like a video game kind of, played a lot of like video games and stuff. And then, how old were you when you started playing guitar? Like 13, 12?
I think 10, but then like real seriously like 12. But yeah. I think 10-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, then it was the guitar, and then it just went from there.
How much older are you than him?
4 years.
Yeah,
I've
Casey.
never met you, but I think that I would be a better friend of yours than him. He drives me fucking crazy.
I think everybody would.
Casey,
Oh,
you just go.
Perfect example was when I first went to Robin to get my haircut first time. Like, I didn't know who she was. Jimmy was like, "Oh, go to her," because I was going to like some old men like barbershop, whatever, and I'm like, "All right, I'll try it out." And I knew Sam too. I was like, "Yeah, I'll check it out."
best advice your brother ever gave you.
Yeah, yeah.
You
But
know,
go ahead.
you just know something sometimes. It just works out, you know?
But anyway, from what she told me was, because I went in and I didn't know who she was, so I went into the reception area. I sat down. I grabbed a magazine. I was reading, and then she walks up to the desk and she looks at me and she's like, "Are you Rob?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay, I'm ready for you." And she tells me later, like, the oppositeness that we have. It's like when Jimmy would come in, it's not sit and wait. It's, "Hey, are you ready to take me?" Or, "How are you doing today?" And,
Right. Rob sat down quietly in the reception area like a normal person and read a magazine, and Jimmy just blasts in like the Kool-Aid man, like, "Hey, I'm here. When are you cutting my hair? Is that chick that works next to you single?"
So you're saying be quiet and keep my mouth shut. A few people have told me that a couple times.
I think I told you that at least 8 times today.
In an hour.
Yeah, we were only together for less than less than 2 hours. So yeah.
The people there couldn't hear what I was saying, and when I get excited, I talk louder. And you're all the way in the other room. I'm trying to unscrew stuff, you had to eventually because my fingers are greasy. It's something to do with the Italians genes. Rob, you have oily fingers too?
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
Casey just has
What?
these like. No, I'm trying to. You know how beds are. What they do with a bed is they have this screw, and it's like it's a washer or something. It's called. And Casey had the ability to use his hand and just twist it, while my hands were just slipping all over the place.
Because you're
It was
weak.
amazing.
You're weak and you were weak and you rub fucking cocoa butter all over yourself constantly.
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil.
Coconut
That's
oil,
what it
that's
is.
it.
So Robin, okay, so don't be with somebody don't be with a man that rubs coconut oil on his hands because he does not be able to fix stuff and be a man. Is that what you're saying?
Are you saying you're putting yourself in that? You're putting yourself then as the example.
Right. Yes.
Like, oh, like a woman should not date me.
Why would a woman? Yeah, I mean, I've I don't think soft hands attract women. They like, and as I said, this chest hair. I'm growing the chest hair out. They want callous hands of a man. Not which. Yes, have I used coconut oil before on my hair? I was told it's good to put on your hair. And was it on my hands then? Yes. So then I put it on my face because I'm going to keep rubbing it on my skin to help. Okay.
Well, Jimmy, you're not necessarily like a laborer by any stretch of the imagination. So, I don't expect you to tighten things with your hands and, any physical labor you're asked to do is like, oh, I got to play guitar with these hands. I can't lift that. He can lift weights at the gym, but he can't lift, produce boxes because his hands.
No.
Got to play guitar.
I can do 2 lettuce boxes already on top of my head. I've done that. And 2 potatoes. Actually, once I did 3.
You don't understand the frustration that I went through today with him trying to take 3 screws out of a bed frame.
Oh gosh.
But I appreciate your help with carrying that stuff. I would have never been able to do it by myself, buddy.
Casey, is that what you offer women? Is it just, you're brute, tough, never had to work out because you already have natural strength? You don't need to work out. That's why you're so strong. People like me, we have to work out so we're strong enough, and because you're strength privileged.
I was a roofer for 20 years carrying 80-pound bundles of shingles up and down roofs. I mean, I didn't really need to go to the gym. I just ate too much and did too many drugs.
And how did it make you feel?
How did what?
How did it make you feel? The
I
drugs.
couldn't tell you. I don't remember. I was on drugs.
So Jimmy, what is it like? What's it like right now, not having the gym?
Rob, I mean, most would think that I'm thinking of myself as a shell of a man, but I'm not. I've been doing long walks, push-ups, squats, some rows, a lot more sitting down. My days feel very unproductive, but it's okay. Bodies need rest. It's training, for bros that work out a lot. I'm sure a lot of people get this. We have to be like, okay, I'm losing muscle. I still got to love myself. Because I think I was just saying before, we work out sometimes because we hate ourselves or don't like ourselves as much. Which is another thing. Go
No, go ahead. So does the idea of the fact that we're homebound and we're quarantined now, does it make you reflect on, because it slows your life down, so you're not going out as much, you're not interacting with people as much. Does it make you reflect on hey, maybe what would my life be like if I was settled down, or does it make you reflect on things and the idea of living a different lifestyle?
Well, I mean, for sure, it's basically everything I thought it would be. I'm not that I'm a futurist or anything, but I was like, okay, well, if I was quarantined with someone, I would want someone that's just mentally, that I could stimulate it. Well, so you wake up, you're both in the same space, you're doing the things and everything. You know what the other person wants. I would figure that, and I mean, yeah, I'm not out around people, which I was used to, especially with working and stuff. But it's basically, I just make the best of it, like I would do anything. Always make the best of everything. And I'm not hey, I like it. I think it's not, honestly, it's just weird because you're you want to go out, but you can't. You can, but people yell at you for not wearing a mask at Wawa when I'm just trying to get a cup of coffee, and it fogs up my glasses, and they have glass shield guards there anyway, and I'm not touching anything because I kicked the door open, and I use my shirt to. I don't touch anything in there. I just grab the coffee and pay. It's just, I guess, a little different thing that we have to get used to. When you guys wake up, okay, typical day in your life, you guys get up immediately. Are you loving all over each other? And you wake up and you're just oh, my husband, and Rob's my wife. Oh, isn't it a joy being married 11 years? Is that what happens to you guys?
Jimmy, it's just it's life. It's everyday life. It's not
we don't always get up at the same time.
We don't get up at the same time. It's real life. He gets up early. I get to sleep in a little bit. It's not, like I said, it's not the highlight reel that you see on social media or marriages from the 50s depicted in movies. It's just not really like that.
So one
Are
could say,
both of you guys off of work right now?
Rob is not. No, he's
I'm
still
still
working.
working.
Still
Yeah.
working? What do
Yeah.
you do, Rob?
I work at it's like a chemical plant. We make like little pellets of nylon, basically.
Okay. So it's kind of like we're all in quarantine, but you're not working, Robin, right?
No, I'm not. No.
But it's still kind of like a normal days for you guys if you're still working, Robbie, right? So you're not stuck
Yeah, for me,
inside together.
for me, it's normal days. I just don't go to as many places, obviously, on the way back home.
Yeah.
But he was off last week. Our vacation got thwarted from COVID-19. We were going to Austin to see Jimmy, but we canceled that. So we were off all week together last week, and it was fine. Like I said, it's just like we don't work on each other's nerves. I mean, I think we can keep ourselves occupied separately under the same roof and also do things together. I mean, I think, I think Rob and I are so much alike in certain ways, even though our personalities are opposite. But yeah, we had fun last week. I mean, sometimes you just take a day and you watch TV all day and eat junk food, and it is what it is. Sometimes things at home don't get done, and that's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
Robin, so you're saying
He's writing his first down.
You're saying that there almost is no secret, and you guys just make it happen. Is that what you're saying?
I think you have to want something too. I mean, I think every encounter that we have with another person or any relationship that we've had, it kind of like it's stepping stones to get you to where like you want to be, like what you don't want from another person. I think like as you date or even just knowing people throughout your life, it's like what, like I couldn't handle a person like this per se, like on a daily basis. It's like I think that's kind of what comes from dating and, like I said, just generally knowing people. But it's the way that are you a contented kind of person? I mean, Jimmy, I don't think that you are a contented person, and I don't say that in a negative way. And I think that you like meeting different people. I think you like the variety of different people and different women. Not even in a sexual way, just you like being around a lot of different people. I don't know if you want to be settled down per se. Like, do you have the mindset that, like I kind of was touching on earlier, like, oh, that next best thing is just to swipe away? Like do you have that mindset? Is that what keeps you from like trying to make something work with one person?
Surprisingly, no, I don't have that mindset. I'm very excited. I'm so excited so easily, excitable. But no, I know exactly what I want in a woman. I said this all the time. Not that I'm looking, I haven't, I'm perfectly happy being with one. That's the ultimate plan. One person. I think that's what everyone's plan is. They want one person to be great with and love. I don't care if the girl's smart, if she's stupid, if she's rich, if she's poor, what she looked like, all that doesn't matter. It's like the spirit and the heart and everything. I mean, yeah, hot is awesome. Oh, it's so great. I love it. I mean, it's not the best, but it's cool. Oh man, but no, it's the spirit and the connection and the intent of the heart is the biggest thing for me. But yeah, I mean, I would totally be with just one person. I guess. Hey, but Robin, you know, not every man is meant to be married, unfortunately, or with one.
So could I go on your Instagram likes and not see you liking like 400 butt pics?
No, surprisingly, I don't like any butt pics.
No.
No.
I think if I could pull something up on my phone now, we could debate that.
Robin, no. You're not supposed to like butt pics. You're supposed to comment on them. You know, what are you supposed to say? That big, you know, round things, or you know, I don't know what people or like. You're not supposed to like them. But I don't comment on them either. I gently look at them. I might pause a second, you know, stare at it, you know, and I'll be like, no, Jim, don't like it. And then I'll just keep scrolling.
So Jimmy, are you looking for what I call a unicorn, a woman that checks every box, you know, looks and personality and whatever? I mean, like, what are you willing to sacrifice in another woman that like that you could settle down with? I mean, I think when I talk to other people, you know, that you know aren't in relationships, I think that they have these wildly unrealistic expectations. I think you got to be willing to you know, accept certain things, and you know, there's things that are deal breakers on your list and things that you can't have. I don't think the person that ticks every box truly exists, but I think there's men out there that believe that it does. And it's like, what would you be willing to sacrifice on your, you know, your checklist, like to have that one person?
I think people should, I mean, if you want, yeah, for sure. You got to sacrifice something for everybody. Although Jesus did make the only sacrifice, so technically we don't have to sacrifice anything. Maybe there is someone that has everything. I don't know. But, you know, thank you, God. But I would do, I think everyone has something different that you could check off. I'm like, oh, she's cool, but she's poor. You know, that's cool. She's dumb, but she has a great heart.
I think you need to eliminate that one.
I think Jimmy's all right being with somebody dumb if they have a great ass. And it's like, that's not okay. Like the idea like of being quarantined and whatever, it's like, you know, you need somebody that you can have a conversation with day in and day out. I mean, like, I would think you can agree with that to some degree. You know, you say you're all right with somebody being dumb, but I don't think that you would be.
Well, no, you can be low IQ'd and still be a great conversation haver. Some would say that about me. I mean, they would. Some say I am a good conversation haver. But
maybe if you had a dumb one, you could brainwash them into believing all the things that you believe. Is that maybe what you're trying to do? What?
I mean, close, but no. They don't need to believe. Okay, so Robin, so being married, do you and Rob believe the same beliefs, or are you guys a little different? Like, you know how you have different viewpoints in God or whatever. I always felt, and I'm sure you're the same. Someone doesn't have to believe what I believe. Just let me vent everything and be like, oh, you know, let me talk, and then just be there to talk to it, even if you don't believe it. What do you guys disagree on? Some things like God, like religion or spirituality, or maybe you believe that in reincarnation, and Rob believes that, you know, our souls go to the moon and then we go back to the sun. And what do you guys have the same beliefs there, or?
I don't think that that's something that we even like discuss. Like, I mean, obviously that's something that you enjoy like talking about, but like that's not what we like are discussing at the end of the day. That's not like deal breakers for us. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're pretty close on most things, I think. May have slight disagreements, but not in the realm of that stuff.
So you're
I
saying
think like what's wrong with the idea of like just being a good person but not having to, flout your religious beliefs. I think Rob and I are good and good-hearted people, regardless of what, anybody believes, really.
so you guys never talk about aliens or UFOs or?
Absolutely not.
No, not really.
So you've never even brought up, hey, did you ever read about Roswell? And Rob, what are your thoughts on this? I don't know what you call Rob, Honey. I think you call him Honey, right?
Jimmy, those are topics that you enjoy discussing. Like Rob and I don't care about UFOs and Bigfoot and what,
Although I did watch my fair share of Bigfoot documentaries.
Oh yeah, you used to watch, what was it called? Finding Bigfoot?
Yeah. I had fun with that show.
Jim often says that that your mom got him into the conspiracies. Do you remember her telling you stuff like that as a kid?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't make it up, Case. Do you think I'm making these stories up? I think you do sometimes.
I never know.
Casey, have you met either of their parents?
Nope. Not to my knowledge. No, I don't think so.
I think if you met their parents, you would realize that Rob is the odd one in the family and not Jim. And that's nothing against them. They're wonderful people, but it's like Jim says, their mother is very into, the conspiracy everything that Jim kind of touches on are things that like he could probably talk to with his mom for days.
Yeah,
We should
Case.
have her on the show sometime.
No, I already asked her.
No,
Yes.
because Big Brother's watching. Your mom would never do the podcast.
Oh, she could do without video. Just don't put her on video. Let her talk.
I don't know, Rob. I mean, she said she doesn't want to be heard on it because of the voice, because they can tell by your voice now. But they can.
What do you mean they can tell?
Yeah, by your speaking patterns. Yeah, the tone of your voice. Yeah, I'm not making that. Like Rob, she doesn't even type stuff in on the computer because her fingerprints.
We can muffle her voice. You know how they do on like when they have to like, I don't know what the word is, but like muffle.
Yeah. Put the sound effect on her voice.
Yeah,
so she'll sound like a dude or something.
Right.
Like computer generated.
I don't think she'll want to come on, but that's where I mean, I don't know how Rob didn't get that seed put in his heart. Like, it's just in me, like how Robbie, I don't know, goes to work every day or something. Like, he is just like in me. And because me and Robbie are totally different. Okay. So Robbie.
I'd never be able to guess that.
So Rob wakes up, or no, I'm sorry, not wakes up. I've always said this. If we won the lottery, Rob would be sitting there in a chair, relaxed. I come running down, Rob, we won $40 million. or whatever, and he would be there watching, Sports Center or something, and be like,
Absolutely.
oh, cool. Nice.
Mr. Cool, calm, collected, always. There is nothing that keeps Rob awake at night. Nothing. He can fall asleep at the drop of a hat. He can literally be like, I'm going to take a nap for 5 minutes, throw his head back, and he is completely asleep. His breathing is like somebody that's sleeping, and he is completely asleep. I can't even fathom that somebody can fall asleep. Like, he tells his mind, like, taking a nap, and he is literally asleep the next second. It's insane.
And does that it makes you jealous of Robbie that he can sleep so easily?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because he'll be like, oh, let's take a 20-minute nap. I'm like, you don't understand. It takes me like 25 minutes to like get relaxed enough to even close my eyes. So a 20-minute nap is really like takes me an hour. Where a 20-minute nap for him is 20 minutes. He could sit, throw his head back right here on the sofa and fall asleep, and that's just it's crazy.
I'm
No,
jealous
yeah,
of that
I
too.
do. I envy it.
Wish I
Do you
could do
think-
that.
Do you think men are better than women? I always feel like men fall asleep easier.
I think generally men don't worry like women do. I mean, I know that's kind of stereotypical and that's not necessarily true about everyone, but yeah, I think because women just naturally worry more, I think like it's harder for us to turn our minds off to like fall asleep easily.
So getting back to Bigfoot and how you guys don't ever even think about that once. Do you think that's what makes you guys work? Is that you don't want to know where Zeta Reticuli is and the Pleiades, Nordic aliens, the Anunnaki coming here mining us for gold? You guys don't care about that. You're more of just, hey, honey bun, do you want to watch our, what was that, blood something family?
Jimmy, you make it sound like people that don't share the interests that you have are just leading like very uninteresting like existences. It's like it's not like that. I mean, just because we don't want to discuss aliens or whatever, Rob and I have our common interests that we talk about.
Right.
Not
Okay.
Roswell or whatever, or Superman or whatever, you like to talk about.
Oh, so you're almost saying it's not all about me or whoever the person is.
Right.
I'm sure there are couples that enjoy talking about that stuff together, Jim. It's just because they don't like to do it doesn't mean that other couples don't enjoy it, or that you won't be able to find someone that enjoys the nonsense that you do.
I have a feeling this show of the secrets to a successful marriage has turned into all of Jim's problems, and there's no help. Just let him down the hole and see what he figures out. I pieced it together. But no, we're going to keep it online here because we need to save marriages out there. And I made this show for other people, not to cure my own problems and to get my own thoughts out there. I'm doing this for other people.
So Jim, did you have you discussed on your podcast at all about the conversation that you had with your mom last week?
I think that was on our Patreon.
So people that know my mom, I mean, she's the one that told me, Jim, don't dance too close with your prom date or your pee-pee will get excited. Which I saw Jen Keller on our episode when she said that she doesn't remember that. she was laughing so hard. And also, I saw she say that I was like, "Hey, do you want to have sex with me that night to lose my virginity?" I actually never said it like that. To clear the record, I was told I should do this for my friends to ask her because I needed to get this out of my system. It wasn't that I was just, needing it so bad. I was like, hey, according to all of my friends, it was more of like an according to. But yeah, so Casey, basically what happened is, you don't know my mother, but she came up to me and the one day she was like, Jim, can you go check the mail? Oh, but I have something to tell you. And I was like, oh, yeah, Ma, I'll help you out, and get the, and I was like, what do you want to tell me? Is it something important? She's like, no, Sonny, yeah, well, just come back and I'll tell it to you. And I came back and I was like, what's wrong, Mom? And she goes, Jim, you know that I had you and Robbie both circumcised, right? And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, Ma, I mean, I see my Mr. Happy every day. And she's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew you and Robbie are both, you're both there and you're both circumcised. It's not because of our belief or anything. We just thought it was the cleanest way to be. And I was like, Mom, I've been living with it my whole life. I know it's because I don't know if you know what an uncircumcised one looks like. There's all this more. There's so much more skin around it, and I was like, Ma, I am a grown. I mean, this is just last week. And she goes, okay, I just wanted to make sure that you knew. And she's so wonderful. How could you not love a woman like that?
See, I think that that's what people don't understand when they know you and Robbie. I think that they think like, oh, Jim's so wild and crazy and out there, and it's like, but yeah, it's like Robbie's the one Robbie's the outcast. Robbie's the odd man out. Because if anyone met your mom, like, they would know, like, your personality is so, like, much like her. For her to tell you that at 37 years old, it's so funny. It's so funny because she's so pure at heart, and it's so, like, she's coming from such a genuine place, but, like, she has to know that you know that.
Robin, according to her, I don't know what my own schlong looks like.
Well, Jimmy, I'm sure that your mom does not know at much of your personal life, which is probably a good
No, I'm pretty honest with her. I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry, I sinned. This, when I would go play in those gigs and stuff, I've been good for a while now. I don't, I haven't messed up really for a while. Or done, and by mess up, I mean given into anything, fallen in a way. Sometimes, sometimes I'm only human. But anyway, Robin, what is something that you could give people right now, getting off the topic of me and how I'm terrible at keeping. I'm great at keeping friendship and relationships. Wow, I'm so great. But hanging on to anything stable, yes, maybe I'm not that good at. What's your advice on keeping people stable in one relationship? If that's what they want, maybe they want to be in an open relationship. I don't know. But for people that this is America, you can do whatever you want here. I love everybody. With swingers, LGBT, all weird, all this, whatever you want to be. But Robin, what's your advice or tip on how to meet somebody first and know that they're a good person to be with in the long run? Like by first instinct, and be like I feel like a lot of people right now, they meet somebody and they always say they're so great, and then they're like the worst person for them ever, and they're getting all this stuff happen. What did you look for that made you see in Robbie or whatever? that like, or whatever. What were you looking for in Rob, or what did you see in Robbie that made you think that like this is going to be a good thing to go ahead? What's like a couple important things that you would want to leave with people?
Well, like to kind of touch on like what you said before. I mean, I think that like making a relationship work today, the way that we date now is so, like I said, I hate even the way that I phrase things. I feel like I sound so old, but it's like the way that we date now is so whatever. I mean, like, how do you know you have anything in common with it? You're on a dating profile. Somebody's posting like, you know, their stats, their pictures, whatever. It's like, what are you getting like from that? It's like, you know, back when we met and when we dated, like you went out. You physically like went out. Like if you wanted to meet somebody, you went out. And it's like, I think going out, seeing someone face to face, having a conversation with them, seeing if there's any kind of whatever there, you know, it's like, you know, maybe when you're on a dating app, you're like, you know, you're swiping left or whatever the no is for these apps on somebody that maybe you don't find like completely attractive, but maybe if you had met them out in person and talk to them, it's like, you know, sometimes they look better when you talk to them, or they make you laugh, or like whatever. Like I think that's kind of what it is. It's like, you know, because we're so hung up on these dating apps, and it's just like, you know, everyone's putting their best picture out there, and you know, their bios are certainly like exaggerated and whatnot, but like meeting somebody, you know, just even if you met someone at a grocery store or at, you know, out at a bar or whatever, it's like you get that interaction, you know, maybe there is a connection, something that sparks, but maybe if you saw them on Tinder or you would swipe left on them because maybe like you didn't love their.
Can you hear me, Robin? You back? We got you back?
Are we back?
Yeah.
We got cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get cut off too?
Yeah. So, okay. So you're against, I'm not against dating. I always felt like the word dating, that was made by these people trying to brainwash everybody not to get married. They're like, no. Go date around. Go date and be cool and go on meet all these people. But like the more people you meet and the more dates you go on, I feel like that's bad, because then you're like, wow, there's so many people out here that are hot. What am I going to, you know what I mean? Like if nothing works out, I could have this. I felt like that dating agenda that was in like the 2000s era, they're like, ooh, go date. Oh yeah, it's so fun. I think it was like a weird brainwashing program that somebody came up with that was like free love or something, because like, I don't think they wanted people to actually get married. They're like, no, meet all these people. So I also agree with what you're saying with dating apps. I mean, everyone knew when they were invented, they were like, this is the worst thing ever. It's almost like cigarettes back in the 50s. Like my mom said, she never smoked. All the people were like, oh, it's bad for you. But all the doctors were like, yo, hey, yeah, I smoke Marlboro. And they're like, look how cool I am. And then the women that were smoking, they're like, oh, I'm so cool. And like they were saying, oh, smoking's so cool. But now they're like, no, don't smoke. It's so bad for you. You know, it's unhealthy. I feel like that was dating apps. Like, no, everyone knew it all along. It was bad for you. Some people are still going to do it, you know? And but I know, no one takes phone calls anymore. Nobody, very few people like actually talking. So.
Right, exactly. The personal touch of things like that has like completely gone. It's like we don't even talk on the phone. Like we text. It's like everything's so like detached. And like I said, like I think that's what the problem is, especially like the generation of younger kids, like, you know, growing up, you know, in their 20s or whatever. It's like they just, this is their norm, and it's just like, you know, we're never satisfied. It's like, because our freedom of choice is so big, it's almost like I said, if like, you know, you can pick another one up right where you dropped the other one off. You know, I don't like this person. Let's get back on the dating app, swipe right. You know, this person's in my area. I could meet up with them in 10 minutes. It's just like that freedom of like, of choice is, it's too much. It's too much. You know, I think we give up on somebody, like, getting to know somebody or taking the time to invest because of our, you know, freedom of choice to be on dating apps or any kind of social media, where it's so easy to just sit in your living room and start talking to somebody, instead of, like, you know, getting dressed and making yourself look nice and go out somewhere and like try to, you know, impress somebody, or and talk to them and strike up a conversation and be face to face. And
What makes somebody want to go and be like, ooh, I want that? Oh, because they all they see is like the highlights of everyone's, and they're like, ooh, there's something. But I guess no one's trained to learn how to. First of all, that's not real, even though it's real. Secondly, maybe having less is better. We're always about minimalism, right? But then everybody, you know, we're always like, oh no, less, you know, no attachments, everything. But then, you know, people get they get mystified by amazing, fancy, beautiful things, which is great. I'm pro everything great and everything small and whatever you want to. I'm pro rich, or if you want to be poor, I'm pro whatever you want to be. But yeah, I mean, like, I think if you could love somebody for being poor, you can love them for being rich, and if you can love them for being rich, you should love them for being poor.
I think that's like not even like a factor. Like that to me, like, isn't a factor. Like the what can this person provide me financially is like not even like, it's not even a thing. It's like, I've made my own money my whole life. Like to find someone to share my life with isn't like, you know,
what is your love language?
Account. You know, I don't care about that. What's
what
that?
have you ever? What's your love language and the Enneagram and all that? Are you into that stuff? And so, love languages. Now, I've studied this to no avail. Now, I'm pro everything. I love everybody for every reason that they want to love somebody. So there's people. I took my test, and it's basically how you feel in that moment. And that moment can always change. So your love language can change at any moment. But a lot of it's from childhood, and mainly like what you've been through. But I like time and touch. That's my love language. And so like that to me is like, oh, you love me because you're spending time with me and you're embracing. Oh, a warm embrace with a woman is the best. Anyway, I love warm embraces and time. But just as much as I like that, people like other things that like I don't understand. And that's where I think people get like confused on, is like, you have to see what, like, well, what am I giving them that they, you know, like, do they love what I'd love to give them too? Do they appreciate that? Not that you have to match somebody up with your love language, but it's good to know what you give them so that you can always like do that. Like, you don't want to give something to somebody in the beginning and then be like, oh, I'm not like that normally. I just did
Right.
that to get with you or something. So like if people like there's the gift love language or like receiving things. And they love that just as much as I love talking to you and spending time. So is that right or wrong? No, I mean, I think that's just how people are. Like they love, if I bought them like some sort of whatever I could afford, like a coffee or something, or maybe, you buy something big like a ring or like a jewelry, that to them is exactly the same as me being with the woman I love and like holding them and like telling them how much I love them and like all these, them getting that gift is like, oh God, oh, this person loves me. Oh, obviously I can see how much they love me because I'm holding it in my hand. It's like they have tangible evidence of what they can feel. Instead of me, I'm like, oh, I can feel it. It's like, psychic energy is coming in. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so big. And I can feel the love in the air. It's in the air, right? And so I'm not mad at, or I love everybody. Like I love when people, however they love, I think that's great.
So are you asking like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there
do
a
Rob and I
question
have a
in there or
similar
what?
love language? Is that like kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, like is obviously you two spend a lot of time together, which is great. Is that your favorite thing to do? Is just be together, no matter where you are? It could be in
Yeah.
your car. Right.
I think that we're on again. No, but like, what were you saying?
Basically, like, what's your question? Like, what's our love language? Is that...
I think what he means, like, do we do we love, like, we both love being affectionate? Like, is that kind of like what you mean, like, by love language? Like I think Rob and I both love affection and touching and being close, and that's kind of like the way that we express that our like love to each other. It's like I don't think that, neither one of us need tangible gifts in our hands that I can say, hey, Rob loves me this many dollars worth or whatever. It's like it's not like that. I think we like just being close, and we like being we're not going to hang all over each other, but we like closeness and just being near each other, and
I wonder,
things like that.
I wonder, like, because I always see that. I'm like our parents have always been married, and they've struggled with everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like what keeps people together has nothing to do with being poor or being wealthy, because both types can stay together forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything can stay together. It's like,
Oh yeah, because it's for better. You know what I mean? It's the typical whatever vows: better or worse, rich or poor.
so
You're one when you're married. You know what I mean? You can say you're one depending what your relationship is, and you work together and you make that one of you, like, that's your focus, like whatever it is, whether it's buying a car, whether it's renting a house, whether it's helping one or the other find a different job or career, or it's everything.
Right. It's like you put your focus into each other, like whoever, needs help, or whoever, like whatever, like you put that together. Like we work at that, like together.
Yeah.
It's very
finding something, work related or whatever, it's like then he's there, like, to kind of help. And it's kind of like, the other way around. If he's at work and he needs me to take care of something at home, and you got to work kind of as a team and as one, and and that's kind of how you got to have the same objective, and or else it's not, it can't be your own self-interests. It's like you have to it has to be together. You can't be, pulling against one another and dividing, for your own selfishness. It's like, it doesn't work then. It's like, two forces combined together toward a common goal is stronger than being separate at different things.
So before we wrap it up, Robin, what is your thoughts to humanity? Which is probably, people probably aren't going to stay married any longer because we're all going downhill and it's end times anyway, which everything's supposed to be falling apart. But regardless, we should give people hope no matter what. What is your message to humanity? Rob, do you remember what Dad said? He said something about putting it in your pocket and pulling it out when you need it. I've been saying this.
He keeps trying to end the show with "What's your message to humanity?" But there's also something that your dad apparently said about putting it in your pocket and pulling it out later for something, but he can't remember it. And I said that that's what he should use to end the show, but he can't remember what the hell it is.
What's your message? Yes. What is your message to?
We had a good little quote the other day on a show that we watched.
Can you remember it?
No,
Should I say it?
No, let me get it. It's you want to under promise and over deliver.
Yes. He got it right now. We've been debating this back and forth. It's kind of almost like if you tell your wife, I'm going to be home in an hour, and you come home in 15 minutes. So you under promised and you over delivered because you came home earlier than you said that you were going to. So I think that's kind of been like our stupid little motto, like this past week, kind of like our little inside joke. Are you under promising and over delivering? Because he would always over deliver and over promise and under deliver was what it was. Because Rob would be like, I'm done at 3, I'll be home by 3:30, and then it's 4:15 until he gets home. Not that that's a big deal, but he has a problem of over promising and under delivering. So we've changed that. You under promise, you over deliver, and then you don't get people's expectations up and hopes up.
So you're saying, like I've always thought internally, if I always come in low. I'm like, hey, I might only make $20,000 this year. I make more than that by like 2,000 or something. I'm like, woo! And then so go in low then. Anything else is this amazing what? You're even better than you said you were.
Exactly.
Okay. I got you.
You keep someone's expectations low, and then when you exceed them, it's like, whoa, like that it's like, it's a good thing then.
For our Patreon members out there, by the way, hey, whatever you guys can do to show your support. We're trying to fund this operation to make families great and stick together. But if you don't have to get married, no, you can stay single forever too. But it's nice and wonderful when you find one person to be with for the rest of your life. We're pro whatever you want to do. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for explaining your thoughts. One last question, Robin. If or marriage was a fruit, what kind of fruit would it be? And can you?
Are we going with the orange?
I think we have to.
Is it an orange? Is this an orange eating class?
Well, I mean,
Is Casey, are
I
you
literally
a?
tried to eat, I couldn't even eat a clementine right, 'cause I still don't know how to eat them.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Casey,
So,
did you ever?
Jim's idea for the Secrets to a Successful Marriage podcast was based off of a Simpsons episode where Homer teaches the secrets to a successful marriage, but he gives away all of Marge's secrets that only he knows, like the color she dyes her hair and things like that. But Jimmy, you got to tell him about the orange.
I mean,
Love is like an orange. How does it go?
I forget, but Case, have you ever eaten an orange?
Me?
Yeah. Can you eat it successfully?
Yeah.
How do
Jimmy,
you do it?
there's Jimmy. You have to realize. Okay, we'll go with. So love is like love is like an orange? Is that how the line goes?
First, you have the hard outer shell, and then it's like soft.
Hard outer shell, and it's soft in the middle. But you got to realize there's a couple of ways that you can eat an orange. It's either that it gets peeled, right?
Okay.
So you can either peel it with your hands, and it gets a little messy, a little oily, whatever. Got to wipe yourself off, or maybe you can get a little. I personally, I'll use a fork or a spoon, and I just peel with that. Peel the skin right off, and then I have the whole orange. But you can also slice the orange.
Stabbing it. Yeah.
Just let the skin, yeah, but let the skin there. And slice it, and then you have slices.
Right.
Like you probably used to when you played soccer years ago. You remember having orange slices as a kid? That was like this.
I'm an orange slice kind of guy. What does that mean?
I'm a sliced person myself. Yes, I like that.
You're stabbing it. Okay. You want to get to the middle. You want to verbally say, okay, hey, what happened when you were a kid? And then you're like, boom, verbal darts.
Well, obviously you don't know how to cut an orange. Let's go with that because you don't fucking stab it.
Yeah.
You slice it.
Things?
You slice it.
Yeah, you're not stabbing the orange.
You slice it in slices.
Where do you
and
start?
Huh?
I mean, I never knew where to start in cutting oranges. I can't be the only one that doesn't know how to eat an orange. I know there's people out there that struggle with this as well. I can't be the only one. Clementines are a little easier, but I still have issues. I just bite the skin off and then tear it all off, and then I devour the precious insides.
Oh, that's
precious
another.
innards.
Yeah.
Maybe if you find one of those dumb girls you're looking for, you can struggle with it together.
Any way to get to the precious innards.
Oh boy. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
I have a question for James.
Go ahead.
Because we've had this discussion before and it didn't come up, but whatever. Do you believe in a soulmate?
Not really. I believe in a soul. SOLE. Mate.
But like a shoemate.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess, but not like one, like Han Solo. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of connections out there.
Yeah, that's how I think. Because we used to like not argue, but we'll kind of inside joke. Because we had the conversation once, like, "Are you my soulmate?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't believe in a soulmate because I think there could be other mates out there. Obviously, depending where and when and circumstances is what kind of brings you together. And probably you are soulmates, but I don't believe in just one. Is what I'm getting at.
Typical.
She doesn't like that too much.
Casey, what's your thoughts on soulmates before we close up here?
I don't know. I don't really have many thoughts on stuff like this.
You know, Casey doesn't even talk about anything.
What do you want to know about 1988 wrestling?
I still don't understand what happened in the Montreal screw job. I can't. I'm reading it. I'm like, who screwed over who?
We'll talk about that another time.
Oh boy.
I'll tell you all about it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show and offering some insight. Hopefully, people will stop having failed relationships and leaving each other and hating everyone. And maybe at some point they'll learn to forgive and be with people, whether they don't exceed their expectations or they fail miserably, and they'll still be with them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yep. Under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Bye.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. It was nice meeting you guys.
Nice
See
meeting
ya.
you too, Chris.
Bye.
Yep. See you.
Hang in there with the quarantine.
Yep.